Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. The attic's musty air clung to Serena's skin as she rummaged through old boxes, searching for a misplaced family heirloom. Dust motes danced in the weak sunlight streaming through the single window. Her fingers brushed against something silky, hidden beneath a stack of yellowed newspapers. Curiosity piqued, she pulled out a shimmering emerald dress. Confusion furrowed her brow as she held it up. The garment was far too large for her petite frame. A glint of sequins caught her eye, and she reached back into the box, retrieving a pair of sparkling high heels. Realization dawned slowly, like the gradual lifting of a heavy fog. These weren't just women's clothes, they were her husband's size. Bill's secret stash, hidden away in their own home. Serena sank to the floor, the dress pooling in her lap. Her mind raced, piecing together subtle clues she'd overlooked for years. The long business trips, the locked drawer in his office, his fascination with her wardrobe. Instead of anger or betrayal, an unexpected warmth blossomed in her chest. This was a part of Bill he'd kept hidden, probably out of fear or shame. She ran her fingers over the soft fabric, imagining him wearing it, and a small smile tugged at her lips. "Well," she murmured to herself, "this changes things." Over the next week, Serena formulated a plan. She scoured thrift stores and online boutiques, carefully selecting an array of feminine clothing in Bill's size. Blouses in jewel tones, flowing skirts, and delicate skirts found their way into a hidden corner of their shared closet. Saturday morning arrived, and Serena's nerves thrummed with anticipation. She woke early, preparing a lavish breakfast while Bill slumbered upstairs. The scent of coffee and cinnamon rolls filled the air as she arranged everything on a tray. Balancing the breakfast tray in one hand, she used the other to push open their bedroom door. Bill stirred, blinking sleepily in the soft morning light. "Morning, sleepyhead," Serena called cheerfully. "I've got a surprise for you." Bill sat up, rubbing his eyes. "What's all this?" Serena set the tray on the nightstand and perched on the edge of the bed. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. "I found something interesting in the attic last week." The color drained from Bill's face. "What do you mean?" "I think you know exactly what I mean." Serena reached out, taking his hand. "And I want you to know that it's okay. More than okay, actually. I support you." Bill's eyes widened, a mix of fear and hope flickering across his features. "Serena, I can explain." She squeezed his hand. "You don't have to explain anything, but I would love it if you'd let me be a part of this side of you." Tears welled in Bill's eyes. "You're not disgusted?" "Of course not," Serena said firmly. "I love you, all of you, even the parts you've been hiding." She stood, crossing to their closet. "In fact, I got you a few things. If you're comfortable, I'd love to see you in them." Bill hesitated, his gaze darting between Serena and the closet. I don't know if I can." "There's no pressure," Serena assured him. "But if you want to try, I'm here to help, and I promise you're safe with me." Slowly, Bill nodded. "Okay," he whispered. "I'll try." Serena beamed, pulling out a soft lavender sweater and a knee-length black skirt. "How about we start with these?" Bill's hands shook as he took the clothes, disappearing into the bathroom. Serena waited patiently, her heart pounding with nervous excitement. The bathroom door creaked open, and Bill emerged. The sweater hugged his chest, accentuating curves Serena had never noticed before. The skirt swished around his knees, revealing legs freshly shaved. "You look beautiful," Serena breathed. Bill blushed, fidgeting with the hem of the skirt. "Really? Absolutely." Serena approached him, straightening the sweater's collar. "How do you feel?" "Terrified," Bill admitted. "But also, right, like I'm finally being honest." Serena smiled, taking his hand. "What would you like me to call you when you're dressed like this?" Bill bit his lip, considering. "I've always liked the name Jenny," he said softly. "Jenny it is, then." Serena squeezed his hand. "Now, how about we have some breakfast, and then I'll help you with your makeup?" The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of discovery and joy. Serena delighted in helping Jenny explore her feminine side, from selecting outfits to perfecting winged eyeliner. They spent evenings curled up on the couch, painting each other's nails and giggling over romantic comedies. Jenny blossomed under Serena's loving guidance, growing more confident with each passing day. She took on household tasks with enthusiasm, finding satisfaction in keeping their home spotless and preparing elaborate meals. One sunny afternoon, Serena proposed a shopping trip. "We should get you some clothes of your own," she suggested. "Things that really fit and flatter you." Jenny hesitated, twisting her hands nervously. "I don't know if I'm ready to go out in public like this." Serena cupped Jenny's face gently. "You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. We could start small. Maybe just a quick trip to a department store." After some coaxing, Jenny agreed. They spent hours trying on dresses, blouses, and skirts, Serena offering encouragement and honest feedback. Jenny's eyes lit up as she admired her reflection in a knee-length floral dress. "It's perfect," Serena declared, smoothing the fabric over Jenny's hips. "We're definitely getting this one." As they made their way to the checkout, Jenny froze. A group of women from their neighborhood had just entered the store. Panic flashed across her face. Serena squeezed her hand reassuringly. "It's okay," she murmured. "You've got this. Remember, you're beautiful and valid, no matter what anyone else thinks." Drawing strength from Serena's words, Jenny straightened her shoulders and walked confidently past the group. If they recognized her, they gave no indication. That evening, as they hung up their new purchases, Jenny turned to Serena with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, "for accepting me, for supporting me. I never thought I could have this." Serena pulled her into a tight embrace. "You deserve to be happy and true to yourself. I'm just glad I get to be part of your journey." As the months passed, their bond grew stronger than ever. They navigated the complexities of Jenny's dual identity together, finding a balance that worked for both of them. Some days, Bill went to work in a crisp suit and tie. Other days, Jenny spent the afternoon gardening in a sundress and wide-brimmed hat. Their love deepened, rooted in acceptance and understanding. They faced challenges together, from explaining Jenny to close friends and family, to dealing with occasional narrow-minded comments. Through it all, their commitment to each other never wavered. 1 year after that fateful day in the attic, Serena surprised Jenny with a romantic dinner at home. Candles flickered on the table, casting a warm glow over the elegant place settings. Jenny arrived home, her face lighting up at the sight. "What's all this?" Serena greeted her with a kiss. "Happy anniversary, my love. 1 year since we started this beautiful journey together." Tears welled in Jenny's eyes as she took in the scene. "I can't believe how much has changed. How much I've changed." "You haven't changed," Serena corrected gently. "You've simply become more yourself, and I fall in love with you a little more each day." They shared a tender kiss, both marveling at the unexpected path their lives had taken. As they sat down to dinner, Jenny raised her glass in a toast. "To us," she said softly, "and to the power of love and acceptance." Serena clinked her glass against Jenny's, her heart full of joy and gratitude. "To us," she echoed, "and to many more years of happiness together." As the candles burned low and the night deepened, they held each other close, secure in the knowledge that their love could weather any storm. In embracing Jenny's true self, they had discovered a depth of connection neither had thought possible. Their story was far from over, but they faced the future with hope and confidence, knowing that together they could overcome any obstacle. In the end, it wasn't about the clothes or the makeup. It was about unconditional love, acceptance, and the courage to be authentically oneself. The soft glow of the bedside lamp cast a warm hue across the room as Serena stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She reached out, expecting to feel the familiar warmth of Jenny's body beside her, but found only cool sheets. Frowning, she sat up, her gaze scanning the dimly lit bedroom. "Jenny?" she called softly, pushing back the covers and swinging her legs over the side of the bed. The faint sound of muffled sobs drifted from behind the closed bathroom door. Serena's heart clenched as she patted across the plush carpet, her hand hesitating for a moment before she knocked gently. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" A sharp intake of breath, then silence. Serena pressed her ear against the door, straining to hear any movement from within. "I'm fine," came the reply, Jenny's voice wavering despite her attempt at nonchalance. "Go back to sleep." Serena's brow furrowed, concern etching lines across her forehead. "You don't sound fine. Can I come in?" A long pause followed, punctuated only by the soft tick of the antique clock on their dresser. Finally, the lock clicked and the door creaked open. Jenny sat on the edge of the bathtub, shoulders hunched, still wearing the silky nightgown she'd gone to bed in. Her makeup, usually impeccable, was smeared and tear-stained. She didn't look up as Serena entered, keeping her gaze fixed on the tiled floor. Serena knelt in front of her, gently taking Jenny's trembling hands in her own. "Talk to me, love. What's wrong?" Jenny's lower lip quivered as she struggled to find the words. I got a call from work earlier. There's a big presentation next week, and they want me to lead it." Serena's eyes lit up. "But that's wonderful news. You've been working so hard for an opportunity like this." "It is," Jenny agreed, finally meeting Serena's gaze. Her eyes were red-rimmed and filled with anguish. "But they want Bill to do it, not Jenny." Understanding dawned on Serena's face. She squeezed Jenny's hands, her voice soft but firm. "Oh, sweetheart, I know how hard that must be for you." Jenny nodded, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "I've been so happy these past few months, being able to be myself more and more. The thought of putting on that suit, of pretending to be someone I'm not, it feels like suffocating." Serena rose, sitting beside Jenny on the edge of the tub and wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "I know it's not ideal, but maybe we can find a way to make it more bearable. What if we painted your toenails your favorite color? Something small and secret, just for you." A ghost of a smile flickered across Jenny's face. "That might help a little." "And we'll plan something special for afterward," Serena continued, her mind racing. "A weekend getaway, just the two of us, somewhere you can be fully yourself, without any worry or pressure." Jenny leaned into Serena's embrace, drawing comfort from her warmth. "What did I do to deserve you?" Serena pressed a gentle kiss to Jenny's temple. "You're you. That's more than enough." They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, the tension slowly easing from Jenny's body. Finally, she took a deep breath and stood, offering Serena her hand. "Come on," Jenny said, a hint of her usual spark returning to her eyes. "If we're going to be up at this ungodly hour, we might as well have some tea." Serena smiled, allowing Jenny to pull her to her feet. "I'll put the kettle on. You go pick out some nail polish." As they made their way downstairs, hand in hand, Serena's mind whirred with plans. She was determined to make the coming week as easy as possible for Jenny, to create a cocoon of love and acceptance to buffer against the outside world's expectations. The kitchen was bathed in the soft glow of the under-cabinet lights as Serena filled the electric kettle. Jenny perched on a stool at the island, an array of nail polish bottles spread out before her. "What do you think?" she asked, holding up two options. "The sparkly purple or the deep blue?" Serena considered for a moment. "The blue. It'll remind you of the ocean at our favorite beach." Jenny nodded, a wistful smile playing at her lips. "Perfect." As the water heated, Serena rummaged through the pantry, emerging with a box of Jenny's favorite cookies, the ones they usually saved for special occasions. Jenny raised an eyebrow, but didn't protest as Serena arranged a few on a plate. "If ever there was a time for comfort food, it's 3 a.m. existential crises," Serena said with a wink. The kettle clicked off, and Serena busied herself preparing their tea. She inhaled deeply as she poured the steaming water over the fragrant leaves, letting the familiar ritual soothe her own frayed nerves. "Here we go," she said, setting a steaming mug in front of Jenny. "Now, let's see those toes." Jenny obediently propped her feet up on the adjacent stool, wiggling her toes in anticipation. Serena unscrewed the cap of the nail polish, the sharp scent filling the air. As she carefully applied the first stroke of deep blue to Jenny's big toe, Serena spoke softly. "You know, I've been thinking. Maybe it's time we started looking for a new job for you. Somewhere you can be your authentic self all the time." Jenny's eyes widened. "But I've been with the company for years. The benefits are good and the pay. Is money worth your happiness?" Serena countered gently. "You're brilliant, Jenny. Any company would be lucky to have you, and there are more progressive workplaces out there." Jenny bit her lip, considering. "It's scary to think about starting over." "I know," Serena agreed, moving on to the next toe. "But isn't it scarier to think about hiding who you are for the rest of your career?" They lapsed into thoughtful silence as Serena continued her meticulous work. The only sounds were the quiet clink of Jenny's mug as she sipped her tea and the occasional rustle of the cookie plate. As Serena applied the final coat to Jenny's pinky toe, she looked up to find her wife gazing at her with an expression of pure adoration. "What?" Serena asked, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. Jenny shook her head, smiling. "Nothing, just thank you." "For always knowing exactly what I need." Serena rose, careful not to disturb the wet polish, and pressed a tender kiss to Jenny's lips. "Always," she murmured. As the first hints of dawn began to lighten the sky outside, they made their way back upstairs, both feeling lighter than they had hours before. Jenny's steps were careful, her freshly painted toes held slightly aloft. They slipped back into bed, Jenny curling into Serena's embrace. As sleep began to claim them, Jenny whispered, "I think you're right about looking for a new job." Serena tightened her arms around her wife. "We'll start researching tomorrow, together." Jenny nodded, her breathing already evening out as she drifted off. Serena stayed awake a bit longer, her mind racing with possibilities. She was determined to help Jenny find a place where she could shine as her true self, without compromise or fear. As she finally succumbed to sleep, Serena's last conscious thought was a promise to herself and to Jenny. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as a team, bound by love and unwavering acceptance. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. While Jenny threw herself into preparation for the upcoming presentation, Serena devoted her free time to researching LGBTQ+ friendly companies in their area. She compiled a list of potential employers, carefully noting their policies on gender expression and diversity. On Tuesday evening, Serena spread her findings across the dining room table. Jenny entered, loosening the tie she still wore from work, her eyes widening at the sight of the papers and sticky notes covering the surface. "What's all this?" she asked, leaning over Serena's shoulder to peer at the nearest document. Serena beamed up at her. "I've been doing some digging. There are actually quite a few companies around here with strong track records for inclusivity. Look at this one." She pointed to a brightly colored brochure. "They have a specific policy protecting gender expression in the workplace, and they even offer transition-related healthcare coverage." Jenny's breath caught in her throat. "That's amazing, but do you really think they'd hire someone like me?" Serena stood, cupping Jenny's face in her hands. "Someone like you? You mean someone brilliant, hardworking, and creative? Any company would be lucky to have you." A small smile tugged at Jenny's lips. "You're biased." "Maybe," Serena conceded, "but I'm also right." Jenny's gaze drifted back to the papers spread across the table, a mix of hope and trepidation flickering in her eyes. "It's a big step." "It is," Serena agreed, "but you don't have to decide anything right now. I just wanted you to see that there are options, that you don't have to settle for a place that doesn't fully accept you." Jenny nodded slowly, her fingers tracing the edge of a glossy pamphlet. "Thank you for doing all this. It means more than I can say." Serena pressed a gentle kiss to Jenny's forehead. "That's what partners are for. Now, why don't you go change into something more comfortable while I start dinner? We can look through these together later." As Jenny disappeared upstairs, Serena began gathering the papers into neat piles. Her heart swelled with a mixture of pride and protectiveness. She knew the road ahead might be challenging, but seeing the spark of possibility in Jenny's eyes made every effort worthwhile. The rest of the week passed in a blur of preparation and nervous energy. Jenny spent long hours at the office, coming home each night with dark circles under her eyes and a tightness in her shoulders that no amount of Serena's expert massages could fully dispel. Finally, the morning of the presentation arrived. Serena woke early, padding downstairs to prepare a fortifying breakfast. She was just sliding a perfectly golden omelet onto a plate when Jenny appeared in the kitchen doorway. Serena's breath caught in her throat. Jenny stood tall in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit, her hair neatly combed and tied back. To anyone else, she would have looked every inch the confident businessman. But Serena could see the tension in the set of her jaw, the slight tremor in her hands as she adjusted her cufflinks. "You look very handsome," Serena said softly, crossing the room to straighten Jenny's already perfect tie. Jenny managed a weak smile. "I feel like a fraud." Serena's heart ached at the pain in her wife's voice. She took Jenny's hands in her own, her thumb brushing over the smooth skin where a wedding ring usually sat. They had decided it was safer to leave it off for the presentation, a small concession that felt monumental in its significance.
"You are not a fraud," Serena said firmly. "You are strong, capable, and brilliant, and under this suit you're still you, still my Jenny." Jenny's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She blinked rapidly, clearly fighting to maintain her composure. "What if I can't do this?
What if I freeze up there?" Serena squeezed her hands. "Then you'll take a deep breath, remember how amazing you are, and keep going. And no matter what happens, I'll be here waiting when you get home." Jenny nodded, drawing strength from Serena's unwavering support. She leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to Serena's lips. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," Serena replied. "Now eat your breakfast. You need fuel for your big day." As Jenny ate, Serena busied herself packing a small bag. She slipped in Jenny's favorite lip gloss, a pair of earrings, and a soft, flowing blouse. "For after," she explained when Jenny raised a questioning eyebrow. "I thought you might want to change before we go out to celebrate." Gratitude shone in Jenny's eyes as she accepted the bag. "You think of everything." "That's my job," Serena said with a wink. All too soon, it was time for Jenny to leave. They stood in the foyer, Serena straightening Jenny's lapels one last time. "You've got this," she said firmly.
"Go show them how brilliant you are."
Jenny took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders.
"Okay, here goes nothing."
Serena watched from the doorway as Jenny strode to the car, every inch the picture of confidence. Only when the vehicle had disappeared around the corner did she allow her own anxiety to show, her hand pressed against her heart as if to physically hold in her worry. The hours crawled by as Serena waited for news. She tried to distract herself with household chores, but found herself checking her phone every few minutes. By early afternoon, she had resorted to pacing the living room, her stomach in knots. Finally, just as she was considering calling Jenny's office, her phone buzzed with an incoming text. Serena fumbled in her haste to read it. "It's done. Went well, I think. On my way home." Serena let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. She fired off a quick reply. "So proud of you. Can't wait to hear all about it." Before springing into action. By the time she heard Jenny's key in the lock, Serena had transformed their dining room into a celebration worthy of a 5-star restaurant. Candles flickered on the table, casting a warm glow over the elegant place settings. A bottle of Jenny's favorite wine sat chilling in an ice bucket. The door opened, and Jenny stepped inside. Her tie was loosened, her jacket draped over one arm. She looked exhausted, but triumphant. "Welcome home, superstar," Serena called, crossing the room to envelop her wife in a tight embrace. Jenny melted into the hug, some of the tension visibly leaving her body. "God, it's good to be home." Serena pulled back slightly, searching Jenny's face. How did it really go? A slow smile spread across Jenny's features. "It went really well, actually. There were a few tough questions, but I handled them. And at the end, the CEO himself came up to congratulate me." Pride swelled in Serena's chest. "I knew you could do it. I'm so proud of you." Jenny's gaze drifted to the beautifully set table. "What's all this?" "This," Serena said, leading Jenny towards the dining room, "is your well-deserved celebration. But first, why don't you go change into something more comfortable? I packed a few options in that bag." Gratitude shone in Jenny's eyes as she pressed a quick kiss to Serena's cheek. "You're amazing. I'll be right back." While Jenny changed, Serena put the finishing touches on their meal. She had prepared all of Jenny's favorites: a tender filet mignon, roasted asparagus with garlic, and decadent chocolate mousse for dessert. Jenny reappeared a few minutes later, transformed. She wore the flowing blouse Serena had packed, paired with a knee-length skirt. Her hair fell in soft waves around her face, and a hint of lip gloss added a subtle shine to her smile. "You look beautiful," Serena breathed, drinking in the sight of her wife finally looking comfortable in her own skin again. Jenny twirled playfully, the skirt swishing around her legs. "I feel like myself again." They settled at the table, Jenny regaling Serena with a detailed account of the presentation between bites of perfectly cooked steak. Serena listened intently, her heart swelling with pride at her wife's accomplishments. As they lingered over dessert, Serena reached across the table to take Jenny's hand. "I've been thinking," she said softly. "Maybe it's time we start telling more people about the real you." Jenny's fork paused halfway to her mouth, her eyes widening. "You mean come out?" Serena nodded. "I know it's a big step and we don't have to do it all at once, but after seeing how amazing you were today, how much you've grown, I think you're ready to start living authentically in more areas of your life." Jenny was quiet for a long moment, absently tracing patterns on the tablecloth with her free hand. "It's scary," she admitted finally. "But I think you might be right." "I'm tired of hiding!" Serena squeezed her hand. "We'll take it slow. Maybe start with a few close friends, see how it goes. And I'll be right beside you every step of the way." Tears glistened in Jenny's eyes as she met Serena's gaze. "What did I do to deserve you?" "You're you," Serena said simply. "That's more than enough." As they cleared the table together, a comfortable silence settled between them. The future still held uncertainties, challenges they had yet to face. But in that moment, surrounded by the warmth of their home and the depth of their love, anything seemed possible. Later that night, as they lay tangled together in bed, Jenny whispered, "I think I'm ready to start looking at those job listings you found." Serena pulled her closer, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. "Tomorrow," she murmured. "For now, just rest. You've earned it." As Jenny's breathing evened out in sleep, Serena remained awake a while longer. Her mind raced with plans and possibilities, hopes and dreams for their future. Whatever lay ahead, she knew they would face it together, their bond stronger than ever. In the quiet darkness of their bedroom, Serena made a silent vow. She would do whatever it took to help Jenny live her truth, to create a world where her wife could shine as her authentic self. It wouldn't always be easy, but it would always be worth it. With that thought, Serena finally drifted off to sleep, her arms still wrapped protectively around Jenny. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for now they were safe, loved, and complete in each other's embrace. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.